What's going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a great day. In today's video, we're going to be talking about flipping trailers for a profit. So in this video, I'm going to be restoring a 6x10 trailer that I actually inherited. This trailer I will not be getting rid of, but instead of posting a 10-minute long video of me restoring it, I figured let's talk about something that interests a lot of people, and that's how to make a little bit of extra cash on the side. Now, I personally have known two guys that have done this, so I figured why not go ahead and just track all my costs and do a little bit more research throughout the process, and then just do a voiceover on this video talking about it. So I'm going to be going over three things with you. How much did this cost for me to restore? What would I do differently? And how much of a profit would I make if I was selling this trailer? Keep in mind, there's going to be some stuff that you guys will want to do differently if you're trying to maximize your profits. For instance, you could go about restoring and flipping a trailer two ways in my eyes. One, you could fully restore it the way I'm doing it and try to maximize your profit, but you're also going to be maximizing your expenses. Or you can just do the bare minimum, what I like to call putting lipstick on a pig. When you do this, you keep your expenses low, but you also have the chance of not making as much money or selling it for as high. So you could do it either way. So keep that in mind when you're watching this video, because there's some things that I'm doing here that you won't necessarily need to do. Now, I am going to jump around a little bit while I'm talking. It's not going to be completely in sync with the video, but I just want to kind of get into it, tell you guys the process that I went through, my thought process and everything, and then just run you guys through the breakdown of what I could see a person making doing this on the side. So originally, when I decided to do this trailer, I was only going to replace the three most rotten pieces of wood and pressure wash the rest of it. But I ran into two problems with that. One, the wood looked terrible, obviously, so I was kind of 50-50. And then two, the wiring, since I was redoing the wiring, there was so much wiring under the trailer, because this 6x10 trailer actually has trailer brakes and then two sets of tail lights plus two sets of marker lights on the side. And then on the front of it, it's wired from a 4-pin to a 7-pin. So there was a lot of wires under there, and I figured it'd be better just to rip it all out, run all my wiring before I lay my new floor down, and go about it that way. So that's what I ended up doing. So I cut all the wood in half, ripped all the wood off, ripped all the wiring out, took the lights off. Then from there, I took it to the car wash and rinsed it all off. Just kind of pressure washed and made it look a little bit better. The only piece of wood I kept was a little 2-inch scab piece on the right side. And the reason I did that is because it sits on the actual frame corner, and there's not really going to be any weight on it. So I figured it would be all right. It's 2 inches by 10 foot, no big deal. We can just keep rolling with it. This trailer did not have like carriage bolts or lag bolts ran through it though. It was about 2.5 inch screws, and all those broke off. So I went through, drilled all those holes out, started taping off my side marker lights and my VIN label, because I wanted to obviously keep them. And then I started rattle canning everything. The reason I rattle canned it after I drilled the holes was to protect any exposed metal. Now, if you're fully restoring a trailer and it has rust like this, you would sand the rust, prime it, block it, then paint it. But I wasn't really worried about that, so I went ahead and just rattle canned the whole thing, top to bottom, covered the whole frame. And when I did that, I also took off the wheel jack on the front end, and I painted everything. It took about 4.5 cans of rattle can by the time I touched everything up all the way up to the end. And I had a full night. I worked on this trailer for about 4 nights, 3 hours a piece, I'd say, roughly. And it took me about a full night to rattle can everything. The next thing I did, which keep in mind if you're flipping and reselling, you don't have to do, is I wanted to put a spare tire carrier on this, and I wanted it on the outside. The problem with that is my trailer angle is a 90 degree. So I cut a small scab that I had of wood, painted it and put it in there, but I had a little bit of a 1/4 inch overhang, and for it to lay flush, I needed to trim it. So I trimmed that, then I rattle canned the bare metal, mounted up my spare tire carrier, and then I shaved the bolts off of it because they stuck out like another 2 inches, and it just looked terrible. You know, one, it looked bad, and two, it's going to get in the way of anything I want to mount on the right front corner of that trailer, or sorry, anything I want to carry on the right front corner of that trailer. So I went ahead and cut those off. After that, I got into running all my wiring, but I did run into two problems. One was user error, and that is the ground wire on the front where the 4-pin plug-in is only so long, and I put it back in the same hole I had before. It made it a little too short actually to hook up to my buddy's truck. For my truck, it worked out good because my tow hitch wasn't as long as his. and that's what I measured it to when I got done and made sure everything was good to go. But his tow hitch was longer because it was a longer drop hitch, and it was too short. So I should have drilled a hole out further up and then ran my ground wire clamp through there with the bolt, or extended the wire, which is what I'm going to do because I don't want to move it any further up. So that was just more user error, but keep that in mind. I did measure and make sure that I would have enough, but I still ended up being just a little bit short on the ground wire. The second problem is the pin connectors where they are that come with this kit, they're not the best. So I ended up getting different ones, and then I decided to tape everything up. After that, I measured out my trailer and my wood just to make sure I know how much I need to cut off, which my trailer is 10 foot. The floor is, my wood was 10 foot, half of an inch. So I cut that off, laid all them down, drilled through the holes that I cut through the frame originally. That way I could just put my carriage bolts right through, and then I went into sealing it. So now I'm gonna kind of fast forward a little bit more. That way we can get into the big three topics here. One, how much did this cost me? So in the wood, I spent $103. For the lighting, which is from Harbor Freight, I spent $38. For the spare tire carrier from Harbor Freight, I spent $29. For the paint, I have about $39 in it because I didn't use very cheap stuff. For the sealer I used for the wood, I spent $17. I did buy a pack of 4 reflectors from Lowe's to put on the side, the red ones. I spent $6 on those. And then I spent $49 on hardware, which includes any pigtail connectors, heat shrink, the lag bolts, the washers, the nuts, everything in between, the little fasteners you guys see me putting on the bottom of the trailer, which brings a total of $281. Now, keep in mind, if you're wanting to restore a trailer fully, this is roughly where you're going to be at. And by fully, I mean doing exactly what I did. But if you're wanting to cut some corners so you don't have to spend as much, you definitely can. You could have just replaced the 3 pieces of wood and pressure washed them if you had my trailer you were restoring. You didn't have to buy the spare tire carrier. You wouldn't have had to buy as much spray paint. You could have just done the bare minimum and got away doing this for, I'd say, around $100. Now, the one thing I would have done differently besides the wiring we talked about, and I knew I should have, but I was just running out of time trying to film the video, work on the trailer, get it out of my yard, and everything else in between, was I should have sealed the wood before. Now, it says you can just spray it. You don't have to roll it on, which I did. I let it sit for a while, and then I wiped the access off that was still sitting on top, and also sprayed the bottom. But it's just going to be a better job if you seal the wood before you lay the wood down on the trailer. And I knew that. I just ran out of time. I didn't do it, and I still regret it. I wish I would have done it before. Now let's talk about how much money you can make. So like I said, this is a 6x10 utility trailer, single axle with trailer brakes and a title. And where I live, they're gonna run you the ballpark of $650, $600. Somewhere in there is what they're gonna run in the condition it was in. Restored, used, they're running anywhere from about $1,200 to $1,300. So this is not gonna include any titling fees, because I know some states are different. Where I live, you have to get it notarized, you have to get it swapped over, things like that. In other states, I know you don't have to get it notarized, and in those cases, you can just have the person you buy it from sign it, as long as they're cool with it, and the person you sell it to, they can sign it, and then there's no processing fees between you at the DMV. So this excludes that. Just keep that in mind. Some states don't even require you to have a title or tag it. Where I live, you do have to put a plate on it. You do have to pay taxes on it. You know, they want to get their dollars from you. So say you buy the trailer for $650 and you put $100 worth of materials in it, but you're able to sell it for, let's just say, $1,200, because that's where I seen most of them at, was $1,200. That's going to be a $450 profit, but let's keep in how much time it took you to do it. So like I said, I probably had about 4 nights, about 3 hours a piece doing it. So that's going to put me at ballpark 16 hours. We'll just say 15 to keep it a nice solid number. And then let's include the time it took to go get the trailer, sell the trailer, move the trailer. We'll just say 2 hours, because within my mile radius I put on Facebook Marketplace, we're going to include 2 hours there. So we're going to say that it took a total of 17 hours invested into this trailer to make the profit that we made. Now that's going to put me at making $26.47 an hour. Cash money on this side. Is it worth it? Honestly, I would say yes, because I actually really enjoyed this project. Now, I work a full-time job running a collision center, and I have a side business doing mobile mechanic, mobile paint, body work, things like that. But as far as just an easy side project that you can make some money on. You don't have to deal with a bunch of customers or anything like that. No door-to-door sales. It was pretty easy because you could even maximize it more and be doing 2 or 3 trailers at a time if you have the space, you have the resources, and you have the money. But let's just say you make $450 off this trailer. I would take that money and go buy a 5x8, and those roughly run about $300 in my area. I would spend $100 restoring it, and then I could sell it for about $800. So now my $450 profit turned into an $800 profit, and I'm making even more money. And you could just continuously do this and build up this side hustle. And then if you could get into some welding, some fabricating, you get into big trailers like car haulers, 16-foot flat bottom hauler trailers, you can make a good profit. So I would say it's definitely worth doing. So that's all the ranting I'm going to do, guys. If you watch the full video, I greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this channel as much as I can. I'm not a professional when it comes to this stuff. This is just me tinkering on a project and just giving you guys my input. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more weekly content, and comment down below if you have any questions. I will have the link to everything I used in the description down below, and the prices and everything. So thank you guys for checking out the channel once again. I appreciate all the love and support. I'll catch you guys in the next video.